to see Trump as essentially narcissistic and paranoid and somewhat autistic. And these are not very nice words, and I stand by them. But on the other hand, there is also a Trump policy, relatively clear. And he questions all the assumptions behind NATO. First of all, he questions the other NATO countries' relationship to U.S., the relationship to each other, and he questions the relationship to Russia. And it is quite evident that he has a tradition of good relations to Putin, and that he finds maybe more easy to talk with Putin than to talk with the allies. Now, about that much can be said, and we will probably be given more to talk about in the coming days. But I would not be surprised if he comes out of the relationship to Putin with something it would be very difficult for the NATO countries to interpret as a threat to westward lying countries, starting with Poland. I would not be surprised. On the other hand, we have been emphasizing the Karma years, Marco. 395 was one of them, and that was the division of the Roman Empire in a Western Catholic and an Eastern Orthodox part. 395, that means more than 1600 years ago, quite a lot of time. And one would imagine a rift like that to be very deeply located, internalized. And it was certainly, if you will, re-emphasized in 1054, the schism with a capital S, emphasized again, where the Catholic Pope and the Orthodox Patriarch not only denounce each other, but saw each other as Satan incarnate. Now, I'm not saying they do that today, but I am saying that what happens now, the Catholic Pope and the Orthodox Patriarch, in other words, Francis and Kirill, are doing a fantastic job in trying to clear away at least the religious part of it, saying that these two Christianities are one and the same. They are united in the faith in the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, and Mary, the Virgin, the Mother, the witness, the biblical person to some extent. We are united in that. Now that puts them aside from evangelical Lutheranism and the Anglican Church, and of course the national evangelism of the United States, where Mary is very much on the sideline, to put it mildly. In other words, we are doing, according to this, with one Christianity, Catholic Orthodox United, and Evangelical Lutheran Anglican on the other side. Well, you know, a very basic question is, what does it mean that Putin is so deeply religious? There is that famous photo of Putin next to the Patriarch with flowers. And that, on the other hand, we have Xi Jinping, deeply religious Buddhist. What does it mean? And my answer would be, it means that they have even more to fight for. In other words, they're not just playing the usual interstate game that we know and that is canonized, as you know very well, in Western political science. It is also called international relations are about. It's actually not international, it's interstate relations. And if now both of them are deeply committed to the religions that they see as basic to their own country, and these are not small countries here, Russia being the biggest in area in the world, China the biggest in the population in the world, then we are up against something very solid